Well, hello, everyone. I just wanted to quickly reach out to you and let you know that I have gone over all of your check-ins with me, any emails that were sent, everybody that posted on the slides. Thank you so much for those that were honest with me, because it's not always easy to say, the class has been disorganized. It might not have been very helpful for you. And for those that were like, I don't want to be mean, don't worry. Don't ever apologize for advocating for yourself. So I'm glad I have this information because I have completely revamped the way that we are going to do everything. Um, so let's kind of get started on that. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share the entire screen. And I have a lot of tabs, but we are going to kind of start from the beginning. And then I'm going to go through here and kind of show you everything that is absolutely brand new that is going to help you from everything that's been suggested to me. So the first thing is I have eliminated 2 TA sheets. We are just getting one with all of the information here since it's going to be the exact same across the board. I have updated the recap to 15 minutes. So this is time if you did not get to come to section, you either come Friday, you come Monday. There's a few things that I'm taking out of the lecture. So if you wanted to come and just say like, well, let's go over this, but that's what this time is for. If you can't make it, if you can't make these times that are my office hours, send me an email and say, these are the times that I can meet. And then that way I can kind of meet with you. What I want everybody to understand about the recap is that this is public time. So if 10 of your classmates show up and we go over everything that we've gone over for in Wednesday's discussion, I don't want this to be a time to ask about grades. I don't want this to be a time to share anything personal. This is just for us to say, this is what we hit on, this is what we looked at, this is what we can change. Maybe this is like the grading feedback, anything like that in the document. But that's why I do have the times separated for everyone of 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. So if you need to sign up for 20 or 30 minutes, you can certainly do that. Let's go look at that here. See, haven't updated the times yet, but you can sign up for 20 minutes and say, I need to talk to you about my grades, right? So I would just use me as an example, just put Annalee, and then I'll put exam grade. That way I know how to prepare for your 20 minutes because I don't want to waste your time. That's what this is for. Now, if nobody signs up for office hours, I still sit with my computer on. I use that time to grade a little bit. So don't feel bad if you need to come talk to me the last 10 minutes of my office hours. That's why they're here. Some people come every Monday, every Friday. And I love it because that's really going to help you if you're not understanding something. If you need to go over King Lear again, if we need to look at something in the lecture. So don't feel bad that you are bothering me. This is my job to help and make sure that you get through the course and achieve your goals. So that was the link that we looked at, all office hours, even if we set up something like 5 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'm always going to tell you to go to this link right here. It's also listed in the office hours up above. So use this link at all times. You have it in multiple places. That way you always know where to go. Of course, we do have the classroom agreement. I think for the most part, nobody has needed to use this so far, but just to remind everybody, you are entitled to a study break or a study day, which means you'll come to class. You'll get your attendance points, you'll take your exercise, but maybe you have a headache that day and you just need to put your head down for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just know that you can do that. That's okay. Just let me know. I just want to make that aware to everybody that if you do need it, because it's 8 a.m., 9 a.m., if you're like, I just need 5 minutes to recharge, go ahead and take it. Because I'd rather you be fully alert and ready for the course than trying to push yourself. Let's see. We haven't done anything on Zoom so far, and I'm surprised nobody asked for that. But sometimes meeting face to face, being able to talk it out works really well. Of course, any version of your book, ebook, Kindle, audiobook, bring it. You don't have to bring the hard copy. Don't break your backs doing that. Um, but I also kind of like want to reiterate that everything that we've been doing so far, Dr. Brewster has in some way tried to facilitate that or say, yes, it's okay for you to do. But I think sometimes we need a little bit more of a push. And this is what all of this is for. I'm going to push you a little bit. So our discussion section routine has completely changed top to bottom. Everything is looking different. Okay, so your attendance is going to be determined by the exercise that you turn in at the end of class. So I don't need to ask for anybody's names or anything. So that's going to be taken out. Announcements, I'm going to do that for our Discord discussion board. I'm going to send an email with all of the links, including this video with it. So that's also going to be kind of out of the classroom. And announcements can be like, just remember, we're going over this author now that's new, or just remember, like, we have a test review that's coming up on this day. Maybe something's changed. Like if I do have to put it on Zoom, then here's the link, here's what we need. Maybe just anything like that, because we don't have a homepage to do this. And I think quite frequently we've become so used to it that without it, it's like, okay, what are we going to do? The grading feedback, I'm also going to be making little videos like this, probably about 5 to 8 minutes, just explaining what I'm looking for in the grading feedback. It will also be outside of class. So for those that do find it helpful, you're more than welcome to kind of take a look at it in your free time. For those that did not find it helpful, I don't want it to waste your time, because it looks like everybody really wants to use our 30, 40 minutes, however much we have, to study for the test or to do test preparations. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is like a 5-minute fun fact about the author, because I do know some people were saying, if I don't find them interesting, I'm not going to read them. I'm not going to enjoy it. So I'm going to try to find something that has not been said in Dr. Brewster's lecture that maybe will be very interesting to you and to kind of help motivate you a bit. We are going to stay with the small group work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up groups with your area. So we are also going to, I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but we are also going to be using slides. I am going to list the groups, and we will probably have like 5 to 6 people, depending on the interest, sign up for that group. Based on how much we have, maybe 5 would be more appropriate. And you'll be able to switch groups. If for 1 week you want to look at something else, you'll be able to focus on what you want to look at, so that you make sure that you have the time to do that. If you want to work alone, the first roll of tables, the first 5 to 6, you're more than welcome to do that. After 2 weeks of you doing that, I am going to ask you to participate in a group. Group work will go to the Discord page, which again, I will show you very recently, which I'll show you next. But you will remain anonymous. So I'm not going to say this is Annalee's work, this is so-and-so's work, or anything like that. You can use your nicknames, you can use your anonymous on the Discord page, that's fine. The groups are going to be as follow. We're going to do a lecture recap or a Q&A. So if anybody is like, I really just want to go over just to remember anything, by all means, utilize that group. Those that we're having, now that you've seen your test, if you scored very low in an explication, you can do practice. What I will do is go through and kind of grade it. If we have time in the large group discussion, we can look at that and say, how would we as a course, grade this work? What could we improve on? What did we like about it, etc. That way everybody can get use out of it. Those that are wanting a more creative assignment, I will have hopefully a creative assignment every week. This week with King Lear, I'm hopeful that we can get King Lear translated a bit. Let's get into more modern vernacular terms, right? Like Slay King, No Cap. I want all of that. That might help us remember it a little bit better. Or we can probably say, well, what what were they saying? So that might help. We're going to be doing compare and contrast for those that want to compare each of the poets that we have that are coming up for Unit 2. Group 5, if you want to work on crit or poem analysis, anything like that would be appropriate. And then Group 6, you are going to be our test prep, because this is a lot of information that we are basically going through in a very short amount of time. So I did create a Quizlet. We do have the Discord. I'm looking to see if we can get 1 to 2 people that want to be like our Quizlet captains or anything like that. And that way, any of the test prep, you can spend time in class doing that. That way, all of the resources we have available, you can choose like 5 lines, character names, and that way, anybody who goes into our Quizlet will have the opportunity to do so. And then I would say, once we have the Quizlet updated from the section on Wednesday, maybe 30 minutes on a Friday or a weekend, Sunday, Monday, go through it, especially some of our other groups. You're like, oh, I did lecture recap or I did a creative assignment. Okay, now go through the Quizlet. Can you answer all the questions? Can you pick out, multiple choice or anything like that that our group 6 has come up with? That would definitely help you get ready for the test. Because like a lot of people said, Dr. Brewster gave us the practice one, and we only had like 5 days to figure everything out. So this is a way for you to study every single week to make sure that you are memorizing that. And like I said, I would go ahead and pick one group to share. This will also cut back on any of the cold calls. So instead of me saying like, Annalie, what did you do? Let's say something. Each group can have like a designated captain. I would very much like to see more captains, or maybe like, oh, this week so-and-so is going to talk and next week so-and-so is going to present. I will also have a mini schedule placed in the slides. That way we know what groups we're going to look at. Our group that's working on IDs and our test prep, that might have to wait till the end, because right now we only have King Lear and Paradise Lost. And I want to make sure that we have quite a bit of them, because we have Hope and Gray, and I think we're even going through Yates and all that. So everything that's there, I want to make sure that we have plenty of IDs before we look at that group. And then I have also changed. We are now going to have 15 minutes instead of the last 10. So the first 5 minutes, we can look at the instructions for the exercises. I can also provide an example, or we can go through together to say, how would we answer this? What do you think would be a good strategy in helping this out? Because I looking at exercise 4, many of you did many different things, right? You listed out the questions that were either there at the top. Some kind of focused on the relationship between characters. Some people focused on summarization of the scene. So we can also go through that. I did put a timer on my phone, so it will go off to remind us about the 15 minutes. But if I could also get maybe like a time captain, because the clock in the back of the room is wrong. So somebody to make sure that we are also staying on track on that, even though we're going to have the timers up like all the time, just to make sure that we get the time to do what we need to do. And then, of course, you can always send me more suggestions or feedback. You can send it anonymously through email, and that way nobody will know it's you, and I can kind of work that into the class how best we need it. Okay, facilitations. So class notes. First things first, these documents right here are getting retired. It was a great thought, but when you're going through, what I've found through the check-ins is that any links that I might have put in here, anything that could have been helpful, got lost through so many pages. So I fixed that using the Quizlet. So these are they're getting retired. This is just going to be everything for Unit 1. We are going to have slides for unit 2, and then we're going to have slides again for unit 3. That way everything can be kept organized. I know a lot of people like the slides because when we put group work, you don't have to scroll through 11 pages to find it. So I appreciate having this information. No hard feelings on my part. I just want everybody to be aware of that. I did go through them very recently to take everything out, but I wanted everybody to know that these are getting retired. You are not going to be able to edit anything any longer. And I am spending the time making this video for everyone because, well, one, I don't want to waste time in class going through this because our time is precious. And 2, I just wanted to make sure that if somebody goes through and says, oh my God, I can open up the Google Doc, or what are we supposed to do? Or why are these new links coming out? This is why. This is going on YouTube. It is going to be public. So I'll be able to see kind of the count of how many views I get. So the class notes moving forward for the collaborative sharing, I do have a Google Doc available for that now. This is going to be for both of my sections. Excuse me. As you can see, we did not get a lot of interest in anything. So no more than 4 people can sign up for one day. The highlighted dates are going to be the test reviews. We're going to now update our notes to the discussion board that we have. You don't even need to attend lecture. And then if you sign up for Tuesday, you have till Friday. If you sign up for Thursday, you have till Sunday. And of course, you can always just send me like a photograph of your handwritten notes. So since there wasn't a lot of interest and it seemed kind of really curious, right? Like 50% of one section was like, I'm all for collaborative sharing. I'm all for Quizlet. And 50% of my other section was the same way. So I don't want you to be limited on how many people that you have access to study, which is why I'm opening it up. And I'm also going to do something that is going to encourage you to want to do collaborative note taking, at least for one day. And as you could see here, this one. And as you can see here, we do have like the 26. So if any of you do have your notes, the first 4 people to sign up for that. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do on this video. I'm not going to put it in an email. I'm going to verbally state it when we have our next class. So if somebody would like to remind me, what are we doing? Like, what are the incentives that are being provided there? I think you're going to enjoy this. And that way we can have access to more notes. So here is also the link to our collaborative Quizlet. I will tell you, I'm an older millennial. I don't think I've ever used Quizlet. So Miss G might be older than Quizlet, but that's why I'm like, we need at least 1 or 2 captains that are going to be able to go and make everything for our course that other people can use to study. I have 2 people in mind, 1 from each section. I will get to you after this video to see if that's something that you would like to do. And we can always change if you want to be a captain for Quizlet for unit 2, but for unit 3, you're like, this is too much, or I don't like it. We can change and talk about that as well. I don't want to put pressure on one individual or 2 individuals, which is why both sections are going to be collaborating together. And so this is the biggest change that we have so far is our discourse discussion board, which is here. Woohoo! So let me show you what I have done so far. I have put our exams listed as events, so you have access to when these are going to occur. You can kind of set reminders. Announcements, again, we don't have a homepage, a group homepage on Canvas like we usually do. So who's this? It's a bot. Why are you there? Dismiss that. See, y'all, I don't know what this is. I'm like, this is why I need help. But I think for a majority of us, this is how our mind works. So this is where I'm going to post any announcements. So here's the first one. We're retiring the Google Docs. We're going to be using Google Slides. Each class is going to have their own slides kind of section. That way, one section is not being influenced too much by another. You're going to be able to do your own work. And then what I'm going to do, most likely in the general, so here's your reading list already available for everyone. In the general, I might just either screenshot something or copy and paste it here so that you do have access. Like maybe someone did a great explication, maybe someone had a great creative summary, compare and contrast, and that way you can have access to that information through here. And again, you and your groups will remain anonymous. For those that have been struggling with the links, I know there's a lot of links because I went through and put all of them here for you. But now you don't have to go back through emails or anything. All of it's right here. So the TA sheet that we're sharing is here. The feedback sheet that we're sharing is right here. The list to sign up for collaborative note taking, the links to see, now it says unit 1. So for unit 1, they're all here if you need to go back on it. My office hours, sign up sheet, and then everything that we've had so far. So the Middle English Online Dictionary, that link is here. The example of how to do quick notes is also here. We went over that for Oscar Wilde. The 10-minute video to crit is here. The photograph, kind of as an example, the handout, the video of you watching Peter Flynn kind of go through and analyze a poem, which could be very helpful for some of you. The link to the King Lear production. So that way, if you need to go back and rewatch it, you have it right here. You can get that pinned. Link to the collaborative Quizlet is also going to be here. And then you asked and I found it. Here is a website of 60 literary devices and techniques that can help. Everything from alliteration to apostrophe, all of this here. They have the definition and they have examples and they have similar terms. So nobody needs to go and create this. It's all right here. I would say knowing maybe 4 to 5 of these very well. That way you can put these in your explications, like allegory, anecdote, rhyme scheme, especially as we get closer to the modern era. You might not have as many rhyme schemes, like once we get to Virginia Woolf. So you might have to look at others for that. But you have all of this here. I will let our Quizlet captains decide whether or not they want to put any of these into the Quizlet for us to study, what they think might be more helpful. But that's what I'm saying. All of this is here. You asked for it, and I'm able to deliver it. So all of this is available to you. What I would very much like to see happen is to see this grow. So if you're like, hey, I came across a podcast, or hey, I across a YouTube video of someone reading Paradise Lost, place it in here for everyone to have. That's perfectly fine with me. That's what this is for. Yes, I'm on here, but I'm not here to police you. This is outside of the university, so this isn't Canvas. I would just ask you to remain respectful to each other, like no name calling or anything like that. But I'm not here to police anything. So feel as comfortable as possible using this. Okay, grading feedback. I just went ahead and copied the sheet here. And what I'm going to be doing is exactly what I'm doing for this. I'll open it up. I'll read through everything that I'm looking for. That way we don't have to waste like 5-10 minutes doing that at the beginning of class. And I know sometimes like what people were saying is that it brings me down, right? This is the things that we did wrong. Let's improve. It's like, oh, that already brought down my mood. And it's already like 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't need it. I don't need bad news at 8 o'clock in the morning. So now you can watch it on your own time. Again, if you didn't find it helpful, you still have access to them. And then if you have any questions, you can always just hit reply, stick that down here. And that way I can go ahead and reply to you, or maybe a classmate. I would really like classmates, whether or not you're in the same discussion, to answer each other. and say, yeah, that was a good question. Or it sounds like Miss G is saying this, or it sounds like we need to look at that, or anything. Or, hey, Miss G, can we have a better example? Anything. So the general, we've gone over a little bit what the general tab is for. Feel free to use this as well. Questions and help. So for those that do email me questions quite frequently, excuse me, what I'm going to do is start copying and pasting that here, because if one person's asking, most likely more people have that question. It's just not getting around to me. So that way you can see both the question and the answer. If you email me, I will keep you anonymous. If you feel more than comfortable putting in questions and help here, especially like homework help, what are we supposed to read? Did anybody understand this poem? By all means, feel free to use it. That's what it's for. Second one, this is where it's changing for our collaborative note taking. So instead of us sticking this into slides, instead of this sticking it into the Google Doc, because I noticed for the people who are already doing it, like it's here, there, everywhere. And so I want it to be in a location that we can have it just readily available. So the sign-in sheet's the first thing I placed here, just so that you can have a copy of that. I did get us started for the class notes of 921. I just put a little bit document here. You can get that downloaded and take a look. And then many of your classmates have already done it for the 28th. So this is Michaela's, and then this is Kim's right here. So you have access to that. So I didn't want to keep y'all anonymous. I know I've been saying that about any of the questions, because this is really good work, both of you. So if you feel comfortable, post yours exactly like this, just as, I'll put the class date. You just hit like reply. This is either a copy, or I don't even care if you spend here just typing in the notes, just as long as we have something for you. And then, like I said, I'll go over in the incentive on us to do that. Okay. And then, of course, here's a copy of our Quizlet. So that way no one has to go looking. If you have questions on what somebody's notes look like, you can just go right through here. If you're wondering why they highlighted certain things, and by all means, you can ask them, and they can reply back and tell you what they're thinking, what they're doing. And that way this can help you either improve, or maybe that'll help you remember. Right now I'm working on IDs on how we can better remember that. So talking them out with people, trying to make personal connections, all of this is going to really help here. And then, of course, here's just an off-topic random place. If you want to ask questions like, hey, who wants to form a study group? Or, hey, here's a funny meme I found on Shakespeare, whatever. Or, hey, it's the weekend, y'all have fun. Because building that community for everyone who's saying, I didn't do as well on the first test that I would have liked. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get to the end of this semester? You're going to get through that through community. So really building up our community is going to help you. You're going to feel more comfortable with folks. And if we don't have anybody that's going to start a study session before the exam, because I know many of you do want an exam review day, I don't mind setting that up. I'll be like, here's a Zoom link, here's a time, here's the space for you to do that. I'm not going to facilitate by any means. I'm not going to say like, all right, what questions do we have or anything? This is for you to help each other. Every semester I always get this question at least once, like, right, I'm going to go work in an office. I'm looking to go into corporate. I'm not looking for any of this. Why do I need to do it? You will be surprised with how many corporate jobs, whether it's an attorney, a doctor, whether you're going to open a Fortune 500 company, how much team building you are going to do. That's what this is for. Think of it that way, right? So this isn't me pushing English on you. This is me trying to say, how can we build up community? How can we better study together? How can we learn from each other? Because I think many of us, me included, we're always told, don't share your notes or don't share anything with others because they're gonna take it or anything. No. sometimes we learn through community, we learn through talking to each other, we learn through this and that. And I know Dr. Brewster was like throwing out there like, let's do a group me and let's do this, but sometimes without someone to kind of push us, we may not. So if you're worried about joining another study group because you don't know who's there, now you do. Now you're going to be working with people through our class, through my other discussion. And that way, once you get to know somebody, we can kind of get the ball rolling a bit of all of us going through Quizlet. If you have ideas, send it to them like, hey, whoever's doing the Quizlet thing, I think we should add some of this. What do y'all think? That's what this is for. So this is absolutely very, very different from what we did in Unit 1. Like I said, I would have wished I had some of your thoughts and feedback a little bit sooner. Since we cannot, I'm going to do my very best to get everybody to their goals for Unit 2 and Unit 3. If you have any questions, of course, email me or drop them into the Discord about anything that we went over. And of course, if I forget something, always remind me. I did get a lot of questions about grades. When can I see them? I'm thinking at the end of every quiz, I will update the information. Now you do also, I do give everything back. So you can always kind of keep track to, okay, I got an 8, I got a 9, I got a 10 for my exercises. This is, I received a C, a B on my test, et cetera, et cetera. Go through and check your points too. Something seems fishy, just reach out to me. We'll go over it because I do keep notes in my grade book of what grades you have, why I made certain decisions. So, because sometimes I'm just like writing on everybody's tests, and I could just kind of get to that like hypnotic stage where I'm like, add this, add this, add that. So make sure that you go through that as well. I'm always here to talk to anybody. So if I forget by Unit 2 to post any grades or anything, someone just remind me to do so. If we don't have a link for the study jam, reach out to me as well. And then I will get working on the mini schedule that we'll put in the slides. And then alongside this video, each section will get their own slides sent from me. That way you do have it to prepare for Wednesday. Okay. Well, I do hope that this was very helpful. Like I said, I didn't want to spend 20 or 30 minutes of your time on Wednesday going through this because we have quite a bit of information to get through so we can get rolling on the test. So I hope everybody has a good weekend and I will see y'all next time. Bye.